Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Relationships. Have you ever sat there staring at your phone, waiting for a reply that never comes? It's frustrating, isn't it? Maybe you sent a heartfelt message, or perhaps just a casual text. But instead of a response, you're met with silence, and then it starts. The overthinking, the temptation to double text, or worse, beg for attention. But deep down, you know that's not the answer. Let's face it, chasing after someone's attention only makes you look desperate. And desperation? That's the fastest way to lose respect and connection. But here's the good news. You have more control over this situation than you think. Instead of spiraling into overthinking, you can take charge. What if I told you that silence, confidence, and a touch of mystery can turn the tables? That instead of chasing, you could make them come to you? It's not about manipulation or playing games. It's about reclaiming your power and commanding respect in the most stoic way possible. In today's video, we're diving into 7 powerful strategies that will ensure you're never ignored again. These aren't just random tips. They're rooted in timeless principles of human psychology and Stoic philosophy. Each one is designed to help you communicate your worth without saying a word and to make sure your presence is felt, even in your absence. We'll explore how letting your silence do the talking can be more impactful than any message you could send. We'll look at how sparking curiosity, being unpredictable, and mastering emotional composure can change the dynamic entirely. And yes, we'll even talk about how to reignite their interest by leveraging nostalgia and shared moments, but in a way that keeps you in control. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about showing up as the high-value person you are and allowing them to realize what they're missing. Because let's be real, people often don't appreciate what's in front of them until it's no longer readily available. And when you handle situations like this with poise and strategy, not only do you command their attention, but you also reinforce your own self-respect. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do when someone ignores you, without ever resorting to begging or over-explaining. And trust me, the final tip is a game changer. It's the ultimate Stoic move that will have them thinking about you long after the conversation has ended. So, if you've ever found yourself feeling powerless or undervalued in a relationship, stick around. This video is for you. These strategies aren't just about getting a reply. They're about shifting the entire dynamic of how people treat you, whether in romantic relationships, friendships, or even professional interactions. And as always, if you're enjoying this journey into mastering relationships through Stoic wisdom, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Stoic Relationships. Your support helps us grow this community of empowered, high-value individuals like you. All right, folks, let's get started. Number 1. The silent sting. Let your absence speak. Hey, folks, let's dive right into this one. Have you ever felt the urge to double text someone who's just not responding? Maybe it's someone you care about, a partner, a friend, or even someone new you're getting to know. The silence can be deafening, right? But here's the twist. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is absolutely nothing. Yes, you heard that right. Let your absence speak louder than any words you could send. Now, why does this work? Think about it. When someone doesn't respond, our instinct is often to chase. We want answers, closure, or just acknowledgement. But chasing only reinforces their position of power. It tells them, I need you to validate me. What happens when you do the opposite? When you simply stop trying to reach out? You send an entirely different message. I value myself enough to walk away. This isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate someone. It's about reclaiming your power. When you remove yourself from the equation, you force the other person to confront the void you've left behind. It's human nature to notice what's missing. When someone realizes your presence is no longer guaranteed, they start to wonder why. And that's when the dynamic begins to shift. Let me share an example. Imagine you're texting someone and they ghost you for no apparent reason. Instead of bombarding them with messages or asking why they haven't replied, you step back. You don't send a follow-up text. Days pass, and you remain silent. Here's what usually happens. If they care about the relationship or value your connection, they'll notice your absence. It's as if the silence speaks directly to their conscience, reminding them that you're not someone who sticks around where you're not appreciated. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what if they don't come back? That's the beauty of this approach. If someone truly doesn't care about you enough to notice your absence, they were never meant to be in your life in the first place. You're not losing anything. You're just making space for the right people to value your worth. This idea ties closely to the Stoic principle of control. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and release what we cannot. In this scenario, you can't control whether someone replies to your text or matches your level of effort, but you can control how you respond to their silence. Choosing to be silent in return isn't weakness, it's strength. It's an act of self-respect. And trust me, that's magnetic. Let's take this deeper. Silence isn't just about ignoring someone, it's about reclaiming your energy. Every time you resist the urge to chase, you're redirecting that energy back to yourself. You're saying, my time and attention are valuable, and I won't waste them on someone who doesn't appreciate them. And you know what happens when you start valuing yourself like this? Other people begin to value you too. This approach is especially effective in romantic relationships. When someone sees that you're not clinging to their every move, it signals confidence. Confidence is attractive. It's a quality that draws people in. No one wants to feel smothered or like they hold all the power in a relationship. By letting your absence speak, you balance the scales and remind them that they're not the only one with options. Now, here's the key. While you're silent, don't just sit around waiting for them to notice. Use that time to focus on yourself. Dive into your hobbies, spend time with loved ones, or work on your goals. Show yourself that their response, or lack thereof, doesn't define your worth. This isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about genuinely shifting your focus back to what matters. You. So, Stoic friends, let me ask you this. Have you ever tried letting your absence do the talking? If not, here's your chance to test it out. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever stepped back from someone who wasn't valuing you? Let's talk about it. And while you're here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. We've got so much more to unpack in the next sections, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. All right, let's move on. Number 2, spark curiosity, not desperation. All right, folks, let's tackle something crucial. When someone isn't replying, it's tempting to send follow-up messages that scream, please, just respond. But here's the thing, desperation isn't attractive. What truly draws people in? Curiosity, the art of making them wonder, what's going on with you, instead of feeling like they're being hounded. Let's break down how to make this work for you. When someone doesn't reply, sending a string of, hey, did you get my message? Texts won't help your case. It's not about ignoring your feelings, but about showing restraint. Think about it. Who are you more curious about? The person who constantly needs your attention, or the one who seems confident enough to live their life without chasing yours? That's the energy we're channeling here. Curiosity works because it's rooted in human psychology. People are naturally drawn to what they can't fully understand or predict. When you step back, you create an air of mystery. You're showing them that you're not sitting by the phone waiting for their reply. You've got your own life, your own priorities, and that's intriguing. So, how do you spark curiosity without seeming manipulative or cold? Start by being intentional with your communication. Instead of sending a message that's all about getting a reply, craft one that leaves a little room for intrigue. For instance, instead of saying, "Why aren't you replying?" try something like, "Hey, just came across something that reminded me of you. Hope you're doing great." Notice how this doesn't demand a response, but subtly invites one. It's about planting a seed, not demanding instant gratification. Here's another tip. Less is more. If you've already sent a message and they haven't replied, resist the urge to send a follow-up right away. Silence can be powerful. It gives the other person space to miss you, to think about what you're up to, and to feel the weight of not hearing from you. The key is to show that their absence doesn't shake you. You're still thriving. Now let's talk about timing. Responding too quickly can sometimes come across as overly eager, especially if the other person is taking their time. Match their energy. If they reply after a day, don't feel pressured to respond immediately. Take your time. And when you do reply, make your message count. A thoughtful response carries more weight than a rushed one. Curiosity also thrives on unpredictability. If you're always available, always saying the same things, or always replying the same way, there's no excitement. Mix it up. If you're usually the one initiating conversations, let them reach out first. If you always end your messages with a question, try ending with a statement that piques their interest. For example, "Just wrapped up an amazing project. Can't wait to share it with you someday." It's confident, it's intriguing, and it's not begging for attention. Let's connect this back to Stoic principles. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and that includes how we present ourselves. You can't force someone to reply or show interest, but you can control the energy you put out. When you shift from seeking validation to sparking curiosity, you're taking charge of the narrative. You're showing them that you're someone worth knowing, someone whose life is full, dynamic, and engaging. Here's a personal story to bring this to life. A friend of mine was constantly texting someone they liked, only to be met with sporadic replies. Frustrated, they decided to try a different approach. Instead of sending messages asking why the person wasn't replying, they focused on living their own life, posting about fun outings, sharing interesting articles, and generally exuding confidence. Within days, the other person started reaching out more. Why? Because they saw someone who wasn't dependent on their attention, someone who was genuinely interesting. Now, I want to emphasize, this isn't about playing games. It's about showing that you value your time and attention. Desperation repels, but curiosity attracts. When you're confident enough to let people wonder about you, you naturally become more appealing. So, Stoic friends, let's put this into practice. The next time someone leaves you on read, don't rush to fill the silence. Instead, think about how you can spark their curiosity. Leave them wondering about you, not the other way around. And if you've ever tried this approach, or are curious to give it a shot, drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear how it works for you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next part of this series. Trust me, it only gets better from here. All right, let's move forward. Number 3, be unpredictable. All right, Stoic friends, let's get into something that can truly elevate how you're perceived in any relationship or interaction: unpredictability. Now, when I say unpredictable, I'm not talking about being erratic or unreliable. It's about creating intrigue, keeping things dynamic, and showing that you're not someone who can be easily figured out. Predictability, after all, can be the enemy of excitement. So why is unpredictability so powerful? Let's look at human nature. We're wired to crave certainty, but at the same time, we're drawn to the unexpected. It's a paradox that makes relationships thrilling. If someone can predict your every move, they'll lose interest quicker than you'd think. On the other hand, a touch of unpredictability keeps people on their toes, curious about what you'll do next. One way to embrace unpredictability is by breaking out of routine communication patterns. If you always text good morning or reply at the same time every day, it can become monotonous. Try something new. Maybe you skip a day or send a spontaneous message at an unexpected moment. The idea isn't to confuse the other person, but to show that you're not stuck in a pattern. It's refreshing, and it subtly reminds them that your life doesn't revolve around theirs. Unpredictability also comes from showing different sides of yourself. If you're always calm and composed, try sharing a passionate opinion about something that excites you. If you're usually serious, surprise them with humor. The key is to remain authentic while letting your multifaceted personality shine. People love to discover new layers in someone. They want to keep peeling back the mystery. Let's talk about another aspect: pacing. Predictability often comes from moving too fast or too slow at a consistent rate. For example, if you're always the one to initiate plans or keep the conversation going, they'll come to expect it. Flip the script. Let them take the lead occasionally. Or, instead of rushing to respond or follow up, take a step back and let the dynamic breathe. This unpredictability in pacing keeps things exciting and prevents the relationship from becoming one-sided. Now, here's an important note. Being unpredictable doesn't mean being manipulative. It's about adding a spark, not playing games. For example, instead of saying, "Let's hang out Friday," you could say, "I've got a fun idea for the weekend, want a hint?" This adds a playful twist that makes your interactions more engaging. You're still straightforward, but with a flair that piques their interest. Unpredictability can also show up in how you plan your time together. Instead of doing the same thing every time you meet, introduce variety. If you usually meet for coffee, suggest a spontaneous hike or a trivia night. Showing that you're adventurous and open to new experiences makes you magnetic. It signals that being with you is an experience worth having. One story comes to mind. A friend of mine was in a situation where their interactions with someone they liked had become stale. They realized they were always the one reaching out and suggesting the same types of activities. So, they decided to shake things up. Instead of their usual dinner plan, they sent a message saying, "Clear your evening? I've got something fun planned. Wear something you can move in." The intrigue was instant. The result? A memorable rock climbing outing that brought a new spark to their connection. Unpredictability also ties into Stoic principles. Being Stoic isn't about being boring or emotionless. It's about being in control. And part of being in control is understanding when to surprise and when to hold back. The unexpected moments you create show that you're self-assured and confident in your ability to keep things fresh. Now, let's be clear. Unpredictability works best when balanced with consistency in character. They should know they can trust you and rely on you, but they shouldn't be able to predict your every move. It's a fine line, but when done right, it's incredibly powerful. Here's a quick takeaway. Think about one way you can introduce unpredictability into your interactions this week. Maybe it's as simple as sending an unexpected compliment, sharing a unique idea, or planning an outing they'd never see coming. Whatever it is, make it authentic to you. If you've ever tried being unpredictable, or you're ready to test it out, let me know in the comments. What's your go-to way of keeping things exciting? And hey, if you're finding value in this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. You don't want to miss what's coming next. All right, let's keep the momentum going. Number 4, be their obsession. All right, Stoic friends, Let's dive into one of the most intriguing dynamics in any relationship: creating a sense of obsession. Not in a manipulative or unhealthy way, but in a way that ensures your presence is unforgettable. When you know how to leave a lasting impression, you position yourself as someone they can't stop thinking about. Let's explore how you can do that with grace, confidence, and authenticity. First, let's talk about what makes someone captivating. It's not about being loud, overly dramatic, or demanding constant attention. Quite the opposite, actually. People become obsessed with those who bring value to their lives in unexpected ways. Those who challenge them, inspire them, and make them feel alive. It's about being the person they're drawn to naturally. Not because of what you do for them, but because of how they feel when they're around you. One of the most powerful tools in becoming their obsession is maintaining your individuality. Think about it. When someone knows you have your own life, your own passions, and your own purpose, it creates an irresistible allure. They see you as someone who adds richness to their world, rather than someone who needs to fit into theirs. Keep cultivating your hobbies, your career, and your self-growth. When they realize that your time and attention are valuable, they'll crave it even more. Another key to becoming their obsession lies in creating emotional highs. And no, this doesn't mean playing with their emotions or creating unnecessary drama. It means sharing moments that evoke deep feelings, whether it's laughter, joy, or even a profound conversation that lingers in their mind. For example, share a story that's meaningful to you, or ask them a question that makes them reflect on something they've never thought about before. Emotional depth is unforgettable. Let's not forget the element of unpredictability we touched on earlier. To keep someone intrigued, you need to be a blend of consistency and surprise. They should trust you and feel secure in your character, but they should also never fully know what's coming next. Maybe one day you're sending them a thoughtful note, and the next, you're leaving space for them to miss you. This balance keeps the connection dynamic and exciting. Now, here's something crucial. Obsession isn't just about the highs, it's about the silence too. When you're not around, they should feel your absence. This doesn't mean ghosting them or playing hard to get. It means creating enough meaningful experiences together that when you're not there, they notice. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, but only when your presence has left a mark. Another way to be their obsession is by standing out from the crowd. Ask yourself, what makes you unique? Maybe it's your sense of humor, your way of seeing the world, or the way you support them without losing yourself. Lean into those qualities unapologetically. When they associate you with something rare and valuable, you become irreplaceable. Let me tell you a quick story to illustrate this. A friend of mine, let's call her Ava, was in a situation where she liked someone but wasn't sure how to stand out. Instead of trying to impress them with big gestures, she focused on being present in a way no one else was. She listened intently, remembered the small things they mentioned, and showed up in ways that were thoughtful but not overbearing. Over time, this person became so drawn to her that they started seeking her out for advice, support, and companionship. Why? Because she made them feel seen and valued in a way no one else did. To truly become someone's obsession, you must also master the art of showing, not telling. For instance, instead of saying, "I'm independent," show it by how you live your life. Instead of saying, "I care about you," demonstrate it through your actions. People remember what you do far more than what you say. Here's a practical takeaway for you. Think about one way you can leave a lasting impression this week. Maybe it's planning a thoughtful experience, sharing something meaningful, or even stepping back and letting them feel your absence. Whatever it is, let it come from a place of authenticity and self-confidence. And now, Let's keep the conversation going. If you've ever been someone's obsession or had someone become yours, drop a comment below. What made that connection so magnetic? And don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. There's so much more to explore together. Let's move on to the next part of mastering these dynamics. Number 5. Play it cool. Confidence over desperation. All right, Stoic friends. Let's talk about the art of playing it cool. Whether in romantic relationships, friendships, or even professional settings, confidence has an allure that desperation can never match. And here's the best part. Confidence isn't about being arrogant or aloof. It's about knowing your worth and communicating that through your actions and energy. So, why does playing it cool matter so much? Think about it. People are naturally drawn to those who seem composed and self-assured. When you're confident, you radiate an energy that says, I value myself, and I don't need to beg for anyone's attention. On the flip side, desperation sends the exact opposite message. It's like holding up a sign that says, I'll take whatever scraps you're willing to give. And trust me, that's not the vibe you want to give off. Let's break down how to embody this confidence, starting with the most crucial mindset shift. Stop chasing validation. When you feel the urge to overtext, over-explain, or overcompensate, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this because I genuinely want to, or because I'm afraid of losing their attention? If it's the latter, take a step back. People value what they perceive as scarce. If you're always available, always bending over backward to accommodate them, you lose that sense of mystery and self-worth that keeps the connection dynamic. One of the best ways to play it cool is to focus on your own life. Have you ever noticed how people who are deeply engaged in their passions and goals seem naturally attractive? That's because they exude a sense of purpose. When your life is full of meaning, whether through work, hobbies, or personal growth, you're not as fixated on how others perceive you. Instead, you're living authentically, and that's magnetic. Now, this doesn't mean ignoring or neglecting the other person. It's about striking a balance. You show interest without overdoing it, and you give them space to reciprocate. For example, if they don't reply to a message right away, resist the temptation to send a follow-up text every hour. Instead, focus on something else that brings you joy. When they do respond, engage with warmth, but without rushing to make it seem like you've been waiting by the phone. Here's another tip. Maintain your emotional composure. Imagine someone tests your patience or doesn't give you the response you were hoping for. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a moment to breathe and respond thoughtfully. Confidence shines brightest when you can handle disappointment with grace. People remember how you make them feel, and a calm, composed demeanor leaves a lasting impression. Let me share a quick story. I once had a friend who mastered the art of playing it cool. Let's call her Mia. Whenever she met someone she liked, she was genuinely warm and attentive, but never overbearing. If they didn't call or text, she wouldn't spiral into doubt or send passive-aggressive messages. Instead, she'd focus on her own life, whether it was hitting the gym, spending time with friends, or diving into her creative projects. What happened? 9 times out of 10, the other person would come back around, drawn to her self-assured energy. Confidence also means being okay with walking away. Yes, we covered this earlier, but it's worth repeating here. Playing it cool sometimes means recognizing when someone isn't meeting your standards and having the courage to move on. Desperation clings, but confidence releases. When you show that you're willing to let go, rather than settle for less than you deserve, you command respect. Lastly, let's talk about body language. Confidence isn't just about what you say, it's about how you carry yourself. Stand tall, make eye contact, and smile genuinely. Even in moments of uncertainty, Your posture and tone can convey self-assurance. It's not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about owning who you are and presenting that unapologetically. Now, let's tie it all together with a takeaway. Playing it cool is a skill that requires practice. It's about letting go of the need to control how others see you and focusing on how you see yourself. So here's your challenge. The next time you feel that creeping sense of desperation, whether it's in a text message, a conversation, or a social setting, pause and remind yourself of your worth. Respond. Don't react. Act from a place of confidence, not fear. And before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a moment where playing it cool completely shifted the dynamic in your favor? Drop a comment below and share your story. Your insights could inspire someone else. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for more content like this. You've got this, Stoic friends. Let's move on to the next part. Number 6. The spark of nostalgia. Reignite the connection. Hey folks, let's dive into one of the most subtle yet powerful ways to rekindle a connection. Nostalgia. Whether it's a friendship, a romantic relationship, or even a professional bond, tapping into shared memories can create an emotional spark that words alone can't achieve. Nostalgia has a unique way of softening hearts and bringing people closer, even if the connection has grown distant. Think about this. Have you ever smelled a particular perfume, heard an old song, or stumbled upon a photo and felt a flood of emotions tied to a specific moment? That's the magic of nostalgia. It reminds us of simpler, happier times and can reignite feelings that may have been buried under layers of misunderstanding or neglect. So, how do you use nostalgia to reignite a connection? First, it's about identifying the shared memories you have with this person. Maybe it's a great road trip, a favorite restaurant, or even an inside joke that only the two of you understand. Once you've pinpointed a memory, find a natural way to bring it up. For example, you could send a casual message like, "I just saw a photo from that trip we took, and it reminded me of how much fun we had. Hope you're doing well." Notice the tone here, light, warm, and without any pressure for them to respond. The beauty of nostalgia is that it doesn't demand anything. You're not asking them to rekindle the connection immediately or dive into a heavy conversation. You're simply inviting them to revisit a moment that brought joy to both of you. This can often pave the way for more open and meaningful communication. Let me share a quick story. I had a friend, let's call her Emma, who wanted to reconnect with a college buddy she hadn't spoken to in years. She stumbled upon an old group photo of them at a concert and decided to send it to him with a simple caption, "Remember this? Still one of the best nights ever." Within minutes, he replied, not just with excitement about the memory, but also asking how she'd been and suggesting they catch up. That single nostalgic message reopened a door that had been closed for years. But what if the connection isn't so light-hearted? Nostalgia can still work wonders in relationships that have faced tension or misunderstandings. Instead of focusing on the conflict, steer the conversation toward a positive memory. For example, I was thinking about how we used to laugh until our sides hurt watching that ridiculous TV show. It reminded me of how great it felt to just be ourselves around each other. This approach doesn't ignore the issue, but it shifts the focus to what made the connection special in the first place. Now, here's a pro tip. Timing matters. Nostalgia works best when it's genuine and not forced. If the memory feels relevant to the moment or ties naturally to something happening in your life, it will come across as authentic. But if it seems random or calculated, it might miss the mark. Trust your instincts here. If it feels right, it probably is. Another thing to remember, is that nostalgia doesn't have to be grand or dramatic. Sometimes, the simplest moments hold the most meaning. Maybe it's the way they used to order the same quirky drink every time you went out, or the way they always hummed along to a specific song. When you bring these little details back into the conversation, it shows that you value and remember the connection on a deeper level. So, why is nostalgia so effective in reigniting a connection? It's because it creates a sense of safety and familiarity. It reminds both of you of a time when things were easier, happier, and less complicated. In a way, it acts as a bridge, allowing you to move past current challenges and rediscover the foundation of your relationship. Before we move on, I want to challenge you. Think of one person you've lost touch with or wish to reconnect with. What's a memory you shared that still makes you smile? Reach out to them today, whether it's a message, a photo, or a song, and let them know you're thinking of them. You might be surprised by how much that small gesture can reignite the spark. And as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Stoic friends, have you ever used nostalgia to mend or strengthen a connection? Share your story in the comments below. Your experiences could inspire others to do the same. And hey, if you're enjoying these tips, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let's keep exploring these deep connections together. On to the next part. Number 7. Own the silence. Command the connection. Hey there, Stoic friends. Let's dive into our final and perhaps most underrated technique, the power of silence. Silence isn't just the absence of words. It's a profound tool that speaks volumes in any relationship. When used intentionally, it can shift dynamics, create intrigue, and, most importantly, establish your value. Think about it. In our noisy, fast-paced world, everyone feels the urge to fill silence with something. Words, messages, or even meaningless emojis. But those who can comfortably sit in silence project confidence and emotional strength. They communicate, "I am enough," even without constant validation. That's a magnetic energy that draws people toward you, whether in personal relationships or social settings. Silence works because it disrupts patterns. If someone expects you to chase, respond immediately, or always fill in the blanks. Staying silent flips the script. It creates a pause that compels them to think about you, your actions, your presence, your importance. That silence becomes the space where curiosity and reflection grow. Let's break it down. When someone doesn't reply to you, the natural instinct is often to send a follow-up. "Did you see my message?" Or just checking in. While well-intentioned, this can come across as needy, diminishing your value in their eyes. Instead, let the silence stand. Resist the urge to fill the gap. This conveys that you're unbothered, secure in yourself, and not dependent on their immediate attention. Silence also serves as a mirror, reflecting their behavior back at them. If someone has been distant or dismissive, your silence can make them question their actions. It's not about playing games. It's about commanding respect by demonstrating that your time and energy are valuable. People often realize the importance of something only when it's absent. Here's an example to illustrate this. A friend of mine once dealt with a partner who would frequently ghost her during disagreements. Instead of repeatedly reaching out or trying to explain herself, she decided to own the silence. She didn't send follow-up messages, didn't initiate calls. She simply focused on her own life. Within days, her partner returned, apologetic and eager to reconnect. Why? Because her silence conveyed strength, not indifference, and it gave her partner the space to reflect on their behavior. But silence isn't just about withholding words. It's also about being intentional when you do speak. When you finally break the silence, Make your words count. Say something meaningful, thoughtful, or unexpected that reestablishes the connection on your terms. This balance between silence and intentionality creates a rhythm that keeps others intrigued and engaged. Now, some of you might wonder, doesn't silence risk pushing people away? Not if it's used thoughtfully. Silence is most powerful when combined with respect and authenticity. It's not about punishing the other person. It's about honoring yourself and allowing space for genuine communication to emerge. So, how can you start owning the silence? Practice it in small ways. Next time you feel the urge to send that extra message or over-explain yourself, pause, breathe. Remind yourself that silence is a statement of strength, not weakness. Over time, you'll notice that the relationships worth keeping are the ones that respect and respond to your self-assured presence. Before we wrap up, I want to challenge you. In your next interaction, whether with a friend, a partner, or even a colleague, embrace a moment of silence. See how it shifts the dynamic. And when you do speak, let your words carry weight. It's an incredible way to command the connection without saying too much. Thanks for sticking with me, Stoic friends. Remember, the power to shape your relationships lies in your hands. Use these strategies to communicate with confidence and intention. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe for more insights, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how you're applying these tips. Until next time, stay strong and keep building the relationships you deserve.